Is Joe Burrow really the 39th best player in the NFL? Plus, hear from Zach Taylor on Joe Burrow's performance in training camp, why Jamar Chase is holding in, and much more right now on Enter the Jungle. Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to Enter the Jungle. I'm James Rapien. He is Andrew Fox Miller, and this is Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Join the nearly 45,000 plus Bengals fans. Yeah, we're getting close to 45K, Andrew, that subscribe to CBT. And make sure you check us out weekly on Bally Sports. Shout out to our sponsor, Garage Beer. Drink a Garage Beer today or get a Garage Beer Lime. Perfect for summertime. And Andrew, let's dive into this nonsense. And we're going to hear from Zach Taylor a few times today. We're going to hear from Joe Burrow today. But we got to start with the rankings that came out on Monday night. Okay. Because the NFL always releases these top 100 lists.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you see heavy risers and fallers, and it goes wild based on the year prior. And I get that. But Joe Burrow, the 39th best player in the NFL, I don't buy it. We're not playing buy or sell. I will sell it. I think it is insane. When it came out on Monday night, I said, oh my goodness, this is going to be a topic. And here we are talking about the NFL top 100, where Joe Burrow is ranked too low.
I don't want to say I disagree, James, but I'm going to say that we're maybe not seeing eye to eye here, in the sense that I agree with you that he should be ranked higher. If we're going to go off projections for the 2024 season, absolutely. But if you would have told me in December of 23 that, hey, Burrow, he played partially through November. The team didn't make the postseason. When he did play, yes, he was playing hurt. But if you look at it from the big picture, the players that are voting on these rankings, he wasn't 100%. And that's the output that we saw on the field for a good chunk of the time he was playing. If you were to tell me that he was going to be a top 40 player heading into the season, I'd be like, I'll take it. And by the way, let's have Joe Burrow get fired up for the fact that he's not top 10 or even top 15.
All right. Don't do that.
Don't do what?
Don't mix those two things together, because our viewers are going to say, yeah, we're going to rally around the underdog.
I don't know what viewers are going to say. You seem to know. That. You tell me.
Of course they're going to say that. And I get that. That's exactly how Joe probably feels too. Hold on a damn second.
Okay, take that out of it. Let's work with whatever premise you need to.
There was never a moment last year. Never, ever a moment, including in Cleveland, including when they played Baltimore and he re-injured his calf. There was never a point when Joe Burrow was the 39th best player in the NFL. In fact, when they went on their 4-game winning streak and they got to 5-4 and they should have beat Houston, they didn't end up beating Houston. He was the best player in the NFL, not second, not behind Patty Mahomes. No. He was number one. He was the best player in the league. And that is what's crazy here. He was 6th last year. And because he dealt with an injury-riddled season, right, these players forget. Could 6 have been a little high at one point for a quarterback that hasn't won a ring yet, that hasn't won an MVP? Maybe he should have been 9th last year.
Maybe not if you're saying he's won. I mean,
but he was for that stretch.
Okay.
There's no doubt in my mind about that. And so 39th now, it's insulting. That's what it is. And here's another reason it's insulting, is because there's not an NFL GM or an NFL owner, including the Miami Dolphins, who would take Tua Tagovailoa over Joe Burrow. Not one. And yet Tua is ranked higher than Joe Burrow. Tua, no chance.
Listen, I agree with you there. And we could get into what players shouldn't be above him and what play. Of course. I'm simply stating that go out there, win MVP. Go out there, get into the postseason, chase that ring. Jamar Chase, offensive player of the year. Get those accolades, prove them wrong. I'm all for it. I agree that he shouldn't be outside of the top 10, top 20. I agree. But I'm also not mad about it. I don't know why. This instance, I'm like, okay, you're going to say what you're going to say. Yeah, I'm not mad about it. I don't feel disrespected by it. On behalf of Joe Burrow, I don't feel disrespected about it. It's fine. Top 40. He barely played a season. When he was on the field, he wasn't playing 100%. Okay, you knocked him down a few pegs, arguably more than they should have, sure. But I'm more insulted by Trey Hendrickson barely making the top 100 than I am Joe Burrow. So not to go down that lane. My point being that I was not shocked is what I'm trying to say. This is what they do, James.
I'm still shocked. It's so wild to me. Do people not remember what football was like here before Joe Burrow?
Fans certainly do. That's why they're going to be mad about this.
Is it maybe I was the only one that not only followed the team, but also had to do shows about the team and talk about the team. It is so much better with Joe Burrow. And it's not because of his hair, which we will get to coming up, but because of BJ Hill. It's not because of that. It's not because suddenly we match. It's because he's awesome. That's why. And 39th, fine. You want to accept it? You can. I won't. He could probably miss all year this year. And I'd finally say, oh, yeah, maybe he's 39th. Like he's way better than that. So we'll see if he can show it this year. He's certainly shown it throughout training camp thus far. At least if you ask me, I'm buying Joe Burrow based on what I've seen this week. Had a really nice throw, a really perfect ball placement to Trent Irwin deep downfield. There was a 11-on-11 session, the Bengals' second practice of training camp, and during team period, 11-on-11 and 7-on-7. He didn't throw an incompletion, was 10 for 10. Joe Burrow has been dialed in, locked in, but don't take my word for it. Take Zach Taylor's.
Everything to the naked eye looks good. Everything throwing, he's the same guy I always knew. These are things we've talked about weeks ago with the training staff and our coaching staff, and including Joe as we got closer to training camp. And so we're all on the same page. Everything's been good.
One thing that Andrew Fox Miller does, one of the many, outside of it, just accept that Joe Burrow is going to be 39th in the NFL, is highlights from training camp. So you've watched every clip that I've sent you of Joe Burrow. And yes, I'm there at camp and I'm seeing plays that I'm not recording, but you have seen a lot more than our viewers have, or at least most of our viewers have, that haven't been able to attend training camp. How does Joe Burrow look to you?
He's doing what I expect Joe Burrow to do. And I mean that as a compliment, to the point where it's like, it's almost background noise now. Now I'm looking at the players that he's targeting, like Jermaine Burton looking fantastic from the clips that you've sent. He's letting these other players shine. And of course, by the way, Jamar Chase not being on the field with them during those sessions and being able to see these other players step up and take advantage of the opportunity. So Burrow is that conduit, and he's that, elite tier conduit. Yes, as much as I understand that he's being discredited by being a barely top 40, I get it. But I'm agreeing with you. Burrow's looking great. He's looking, to your point, dialed in. He's doing exactly what I would expect Burrow to do. He's doing more than I would have expected Burrow to do because of how much we didn't know about this whole wrist injury and what the lingering effects and what have you. So maybe the rest is doing him good, but regardless, he's looking 100% to me.
100% of 39th in the NFL to you.
That's right.
I'm never letting
and I don't expect these players that voted on this months ago to know that, James.
I don't care when they voted. They're all idiots.
My God.
They're all idiots. I tell every single one of them, hey, NFL, all the players that voted Joe Burrow 39th or lower are idiots, because there were some that voted him lower. Idiots.
Let's read their names, James, right now. No,
I would.
Hey, if NFL, if they're anything like me, they would have been going in and editing it yesterday or this morning. That's like I do with Enter the Jungle sometimes when things come up.
Honestly, you should go back and edit you earlier this segment, because boy, oh boy.
I'm not going to do that.
Rough. No, you shouldn't, because I get to make fun of you forever for thinking Joe Burrow's the 39th best player in the league. From the 39th best player in the league to the 45th best player in the league. No, we're not going to continue to talk about the NFL Top 100, but that is where Jamar Chase ranked in the NFL Top 100. He's holding in. What does it mean? What do I expect from Jamar Chase? What do we expect? We will get to that next on Edge of the Jungle.
We want Jamar. We want Jamar.
Sounds from training camp. Welcome back into Enter the Jungle. I'm James Rapien. He is Andrew Fox Miller, and Bengals fans asking for Jamar. When will they get Jamar? Jamar Chase still hasn't practiced for the Bengals, and really there's no end in sight for what everyone should call a hold in. Jamar Chase is healthy. Jamar Chase has caught passes after practice, has yet to participate in a practice for the Bengals. And let's hear from Bengals head coach Zach Taylor on how Jamar is still trying to help Andrei Iosivas, Jermaine Burton, and the young wide receivers, even though he's not participating in practice.
Critical. It's one thing for the coaches to be telling you something, and it's another thing when it's veteran players, which at this point, Jamar, T, those guys are veteran players. And so they've taken on that role. They've done a great job with it. There's competition in that room, but guys also want the best for each other, and they understand that, we're going to need everybody to play up their potential for us to be successful. And so I appreciate that about Jamar, T, and then veterans at other positions as well.
Jamar Chase not participating in practice isn't an issue today, Andrew. But at some point, it's going to be an issue. At some point, he needs to practice. Where is your concern level right now and your thoughts on Jamar Chase not participating?
I haven't been too surprised by this, even at the point that we're at in week 2 of training camp. Silver lining, preserving his body. Like, we could start there. And another part of it, too. Joe and Jamar, they've got the chemistry. I don't think they're going to miss a step, so to speak. Now, to answer your question, how long is too long? I think there needs to be some involvement in practice, even if it's not in the camp portion per se. I think that there needs to be some preparation happening maybe between preseason games, certainly before the regular season. So yeah, I think that there's an end in sight, and it sounds to me, and I'm merely speculating, of course, based on what Zach Taylor has been saying, is they have a plan. And whatever that means, that can mean a number of different things. It could mean absolutely nothing, but I wouldn't be surprised if they maybe have some implied understanding on how far this will go. Because at the end of the day, Zach, we've seen this before. He's looking out for his players' best interests. I mean, everything he's saying right there is to prop up Jamar. He's supporting Jamar in this moment about as much as a head coach can, all things considered, with business involved, presumably, if that's the case. How long can it go, though? I don't know, weeks at most? I mean, do you think it's going to go all of August?
Could it go months?
Oh, that's going to bother me.
Could it go into the regular season?
What's it accomplish?
That's my point. And that's why if you're Jamar Chase, you almost, in my head, if I was doing this and I'm Jamar, what's it going to accomplish? Well, you're hoping to get a long-term deal done, clearly. And clearly, I know there's some that are in denial that this isn't about his contract. Of course, this is about his contract. This isn't about him just getting veterans days. Like, that's not it. It's a hold-in. It's what it is. And so what does that mean? It means if he doesn't sign a contract, is he prepared to miss regular season games? And that's a question only his agent and Jamar can answer. And what I think is interesting is, have you heard a lot of perspective from his agent or from him? And you can tell, obviously Jamar hasn't talked to us, but you can tell when it's coming from an agent, the same way the T. Higgins trade request, right? Like, that was obviously the agent picking up the phone, and the Trey Hendrickson trade request, that's the agent. So we know what it feels like when these national media members are reporting what they're hearing from the agent. Have you heard anything?
No.
I haven't. I think Jamar's dug in, and that's what I think is really interesting here is, how long does it last? Maybe it's only 2 weeks. Hopefully it's only 2 weeks. Hopefully they could just get a deal done. But if they can't, or if they don't, the answer is don't. Obviously they can. I do wonder how dug in Jamar is with missing and how long he's willing to miss. And if he's willing, think about it. Joe Burrow didn't sign until the Saturday before taking off to play on Sunday in week 1. He agreed on Thursday, but didn't sign until Saturday. Is Jamar willing to miss week 1? Like, it's not all the way there yet from a conversation standpoint, but it's getting there. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because it's time to start to prepare ourselves for that possibility. Even if he's not planning to do it, prepare yourself just in case.
Well, I mean, he's there. He's present. He seems to be involved. Is that really just to avoid the tens of thousands of dollars daily that he's not going to get by potentially not doing a true holdout? Is that the true motivation? Or is he invested? He wants to be there.
He has to be there because he's on a rookie contract. And if he held out, his contract wouldn't toll, it wouldn't count, and then he wouldn't be that much closer to free agent. So he has to show up to camp. It's part of the new CBA. So there is that. You're all right, though. He has been a good soldier. We will see the Jamar Chase story unfolds. Obviously, he's an elite player. Obviously, I want to see him get paid. Hopefully, he gets paid in the near future. Up next, we'll stick with wide receivers because it's the best position ever in the history of sports. I love wide receivers.
You love it.
And we're going to talk about a young wide receiver that has showed up and showed out in training camp next. Welcome back to Enter the Jungle. He is Andrew Fox Miller. I'm James Rapien. And a lot of people, even you, earlier in the episode, mentioning Jermaine Burton. A lot of people have been on the Jermaine Burton train, and he's certainly had his fair share of highlights early in camp, getting used to life in the NFL. But Andrei Iosivas is used to life in the NFL, and he has been a standout thus far throughout training camp. And what's amazed me about him, Andrew, is the fact that he's moving around now. He's moving from the slot to outside, back into the slot. And he's that big, physical, Tyler Boyd-esque receiver. And he might have found his way into the starting lineup. He might be that starting slot wide receiver, Andrew, because what I've seen from him as of right now, he could realistically be their third best wide receiver come week one, assuming Jamar Chase is on the field.
It's definitely been Burton, Iosivas have been standouts to me. And I can even add to what you're saying in that I also try to see how are the DBs doing, right? I mean, right now we can't really see the line. They're not in pads. I get all that. But from watching safeties, corners, how is that looking? And I will say that the ones that seem to catch my eye, it's not from covering Iosivas, it's not from covering Burton. They haven't made highlight reel plays from the clips you've sent me for these DBs out there. So there's that too. I mean, even DJ Turner got the best of T. Higgins a few times. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I haven't seen it with these two guys.
Yeah, I really like what I've seen. And I think he's so smart, obviously coming from Princeton, but it was never too big for him when he came from Princeton. And I talked to Zach Taylor about that. Make sure you check it out on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Asked him a lot about Andrei this week. Keep an eye on Yoshi. And that doesn't mean that I don't like Charlie Jones or Trenton Irwin or Jermaine Burton. The Bengals have a lot of weapons. I just think Andrei Iosivas, his ability to move into the slot now has really opened up what this Bengals offense can do. Speaking of offense, number 9 or number 39, if you ask Andrew Fox Miller, Joe Burrow looks a bit more like me today. And so does one of his teammates, BJ Hill. You're going to hear from Burrow. You're going to hear from BJ Hill coming up next. Welcome back to Enter the Jungle. He is Andrew Fox Miller. I'm James Rapien. Make sure you catch us every single Tuesday at 8 Eastern right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk weekly on Bally Sports. We're part of the Big Play Network. And shout out to our sponsor, Garage Beer. Drink a Garage Beer today and get that lime because it's perfect for summertime. Andrew, it happened. We haven't reacted to Joe Burrow dyeing his hair, and I know it's old news to a lot of people. Let's start there. Joe Burrow looks good. I know people are weird about it because they're used to the brown hair and how he has it really long and he's got to do that's fine. He was sick of doing that. Joe Burrow looks good blonde, and it's going to take some people a little time to get used to it. I'm going to throw it out there. Joe, keep it. You look great.
Okay. I think that the look was more sort of jarring and somehow stunning than the actual story behind it. The story I'm still trying to wrap my head around, and I know we're going to get to that, but it's like it was basic. It's like the most Joe Burrow thing ever. There's one thing to give Ted Karras, have him do a tattoo when he had no intention on getting one. Money goes to charity. No, this is just a little conversation like, bet you won't do that, but I will. You should do that too. Okay, maybe I will. And then here we are.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was. So instead of me ad-libbing it like you just did, let's hear from Joe Burrow.
Well, BJ said that if I buzzed it and bleached it, he would do it too. So now everybody's got to hold him accountable because he's got to do it in the next week. I think we need the fans and the media to hold him accountable if he doesn't do it. So I'm counting on you guys.
I'm counting on you guys. Well, you guys, the fans, delivered. BJ Hill dyed his hair. Here he is on him, Burrow, the exchange, and more.
I embrace it, you know what I'm saying? So I'm liking it so far. I might keep it the whole year. Who knows, right? So.
How surprised were you when you saw Joe? Kind of caught you out in the news conference.
Yeah, I was super. Well, he told me beforehand, but I was like, "You're not gonna do it." I shouldn't have said that for one. And he ended up doing both things. He ended up getting his hair dyed, and he told the whole media. So I'm like, I gotta be a man of my word and do it. So it's cool. I'm glad I did it.
What's the fan reaction been over the past week or so since Joe made those comments and since they saw you that you did it?
They love it. I love it. My teammates love it. They say they don't look too bad. I'm like, man, I mean, you know, like I said, I've been thinking about keeping it for the rest of the year. So we'll see.
I've been thinking about keeping it for the rest of the year. Keep it for the rest of the year, BJ. And Joe hesitated when I asked him about that. Joe, I know you're watching. Keep it, my man. You look great.
Who's pulling it off better? Which of the two?
Everyone's gonna say BJ because it's not as jarring. When you first see Joe, it's jarring. This is not even close to the worst hair Joe has had. Joe has had some weird haircuts, bro.
Yeah.
The last year with the headband, and it was like he looked like he was on Dawson's Creek. Like, this is way better.
Some reference. With Joe, yeah, he actually had to cut the hair. So it was two things that had to happen. BJ's pretty much had that same like fade, that haircut for all this time. He just dyed it. I think BJ's pulling it off better. I'm just gonna put it out there. I know you're saying everyone's gonna say that. Whatever that means, I think BJ Hill's pulling it off better.
Yeah, of course you think that.
I don't even know what that means that you say. Of course I think that.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take T. Higgins' word for it. What do you think of Joe's hair?
You like yours.
So you love it?
Yeah. If he like it, I like it. Hey.
Just saying. Looks like me. There's a reason why I'm bullish on Joe Burrow in the hair, baby. Keep it up, Joe. Anything else to add, Mr. I think Joe Burrow is 39th best in the NFL?
No. I mean, I don't know. Ask T. Higgins about that one next time too. Let's just get him to feed. He seems to have all the takes you like here. So
yeah, he does. No doubt about that. We are going to be back next week, maybe with T. Higgins, every single Tuesday at 8 Eastern right here on Enter the Jungle. Make sure you check us out on Cincinnati Bengals Talk on YouTube. For Andrew Fox Miller, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching Enter the Jungle.